Hey everyone, this is Brett Favre, Green Bay Packers Super Bowl champion, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packers content. Go Packers.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. We got a full house tonight. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Emilio in Tennessee. We got Carly in Wisconsin. And we got Tim sporting the flannel in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I don't think so, Tim.
Is that flannel or plaid? What is that? I don't know the difference. What's the difference between flannel and
Man,
plaid?
I missed you guys. We're already rocking. I love it. It's
So
flannel.
flannel is a material.
It's windy up
Flannel
here,
is a
okay?
material.
It's really windy today. All right.
You guys remember Home Improvement, right? He's the Richard Karn. I don't think so, Tim. He's wearing the flannel. It fits perfect. There we go.
I don't know, man. I
Are
figured
you
you just
calling me Al Borland? Is that what you're calling me right now?
I wouldn't disrespect you saying you're Al Borland. All right.
I'm thinking he just got off Farming Simulator. You know what I mean? He's been over there doing the thing. So, Mike Berry, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, sir. We missed you guys. Obviously took a night off. Looks like all hell broke loose. I seen the chat. So, anyway, Jake Shavink, where's John Stamos? Because it's a full house tonight. That's right, sir.
But
Should we play the soundtrack to that show, the theme song? Should we hit that? We'll get hit with a copyright on that.
Probably. Yeah.
do that.
All right, let's waste no more time. This show already sucks.
Ready to go.
Emilio's over eating. You're going to see his camera kill like 8 times. He's got what dipping sauce do you have, Emilio?
It's actually Taco Bell hot sauce, but because I already put Frank's Red Hot on the quesadilla, right, while I'm cooking it. But then you got to get the Taco Bell sauce for a little bit of added flavor when you're for dipping. I just don't have any sour cream, or else that'd be the
you grilled that chicken too, didn't you?
I grilled it last night. You saw it.
And you talk. I'm telling the brass on this, guys. Jacob said Tom Holman in the front yard. He's out there grilling.
I just hope that he mutes. I hope that he mutes his microphone along with cueing the camera so we don't hear that slurping over there.
All right. Here we go. Dirtiest player. I don't know if ML Football had their fans vote on this or if it was actually a fan vote across the league. But ML Football said congrats to Kirby Joseph on winning the fan vote of the year for the dirtiest player of the year. There was no argument from me here. Any disagreements with this award here? Should someone else have been voted the dirtiest player of the year other than Kirby Joseph?
No.
Nah.
Bill Romanowski still.
Right. Yeah, still the reigning champion. Hasn't played in 2 decades. He still deserves it. That guy is, man, he was a nutcase. All right, let's move along to the topic of the day here. Of course, I've already lost my Twitter feed. Give me just a second. You guys, I'm sure, have heard about the Josh Jacobs comments, right? Everybody talking about it. I think this is the original audio clip where actually it's not, is it? This is actually from Up and Adams earlier today. So we need to get the original audio. I was going to get the original audio. You know what? We could just talk about it. Josh Jacobs basically said we need a number 1 wide receiver, right? Is that what you guys are understanding from these comments?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. All right. I want to go around the horn with that. I'm going to see if I can find the actual clip because I got this one from Up and Adams with Kay Adams where he's just talking about Jordan Love. And it sounds to me like Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs are kind of taking on this leadership role on offense. It really does. What's your all's take? I don't know who all heard the comment, and I'll see if I can find it. I want to know, do you guys got a problem with Josh Jacobs saying that? And I don't care. We'll start with you, Jacob. Have you heard it yet?
I have heard it. I have no problems with it whatsoever. I think that if you're going to be a leader, leaders got to lead, and you got to speak up. When you see something, say something. That's been our motto for the existence of the podcast here. It was clear as we went down the stretch that, yeah, we had other needs that probably did us in, like we talked about pre-show here, that the trenches, that's probably the main reason. But going into the next season, if we want to take it to that next level, I think we need a couple pieces maybe on defense, but definitely on offense, we just need a couple more home run hitters. And when Watson went out, we just didn't have that ability to really scare people on offense. And we could attribute that to many different things, but I like what Josh Jacobs said. I like that he's taking reins and he's saying, hey guys, either I'm on the ship. I came here for a reason. It's to win a Super Bowl. We're not going to get that where playing patty cake and being nice to everybody. This is one of the most cutthroat businesses in the whole country, in the whole world. So I think Josh Jacobs is spot on, in my opinion.
All right, we got the audio here. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me give you all a nice little clip there that'll cover it up. All right, here we go. This was Josh Jacobs. It was on 97.3 The Game, and Bill Schmidt radio is what it looks like. Here we go.
Obviously, we got a really young group of receivers. All can be really, really, really special, but I think personally we need a guy that's proven to be a number one already. So somebody that's we know it's going to be a little bit more consistent.
That maybe played here before.
If he come at the right price. Tell him to slide. You know, I've had to talk some tape.
Josh, great work. Open the room. We appreciate that effort. Hey,
all right, so obviously he was talking about Devontae Adams there, right? When he said somebody who's already been here before for the right price. Emilio, Tim, what do you guys think about this? We'll get Carly's take as well.
He was the best guy around.
Now that I've seen it, Jacob's rundown earlier was just exactly what Jim needed in the office. Basically all Josh Jacobs said was like, dude, yeah, we need a guy that'll step up. It could still be all the old players, you know what I mean? Like it still could be Tay, Watts, and Romeo. And Jacob got me with that. They really could still be Tay, Watts, and Romeo, and all it would take is just them stepping up to get into that next level, right? So, I mean, he could be talking about somebody in free agency. He could just be talking about who's on the team. So, I'm for it.
Yep. All right. Tim?
I don't think Josh said anything he didn't say during locker cleanout. He made that comment at the end of the season. You know, he was going to do his best to go to bat and try and, bring some talent into Green Bay to get us over the hump. So I'm not reading in between the lines, looking for drama like a lot of people are doing out there right now. He wants some top tier talent in here. He said a proven number one guy, proven receiver, and it could be Tay, it could be somebody else, who knows? But bottom line, I think he's looking for another veteran or two in that locker room to help get this young team over the hump.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Carly. What's your take on this?
I like what Too Old for This said, that he didn't say our wide receiver room sucks, but how much a proven guy could make a difference. But also, I'm kind of wondering, like, why is he saying this to the media? And if he's repeating it to the media, does that mean that he feels like the other people he's said it to aren't listening? Is kind of what has me wondering here. Because I feel like that's usually what you see, is that guys that repeat things to the media are saying out there because they don't feel like they're heard, or people are paying attention, in the front office or coaches or whatever. So, I mean, I don't know that that's the case. I'm not putting rumors out there. I just kind of wonder.
Got it. No, I think it's a great point. It is. And again, I think he was just answering the question, honestly. Anyone who thinks we've got a number one wide receiver, they're not really paying attention, Now, I'm of the opinion, if we think going out and spending 20 to 30 million on a T. Higgins or somebody is going to all of a sudden, boy, now we're there, could not disagree more. But at the same time, you can approach it two different ways, right? You can go into free agency and try to get one of these top guys for 3 to 4 years, or you can try to attack it in the draft. But we all know if it's not a first round pick, they're probably a good chance they're not going to start right away and be that dominant player. I mean, it's very rare that a dominant number one wide receiver falls even out of the first round, right? Although we've had a lot of success in the second round, I think there's a little bit of precedent there. So let's see. Randy Cleaver says, think how much better Jacobs would be if other teams had to worry about wide receiver one. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about that. You'd be rolling coverage that way. You'd be showing more too high shell, all those type of things. But, I mean, teams showed a lot of too high shell against us this year, and then they started blitzing, right? And, of course, we didn't handle the blitz as well as we have in the past, and I think that has a lot to do with Jordan Love's knee injury this year. So let's move along to his next comments. This was on Up and Adams with Kay Adams. So let's throw another screenshot up here real quick. There we go. That's perfect, Tim. Thank you so much. Here he is, Josh Jacobs, when asked about Jordan Love.
What you thought Jordan Love was like and what he's really like back then and
man, the thing that stood out the most is the way the ball come out his arm. Like, he be spinning the ball. And I think that was the biggest thing, like, watching film on him before coming, but then actually getting in to practice with him, I'm like, oh yeah, this dude got it. He definitely got it. I think it's about just putting it together on a consistent basis for him. But when he figure it out, man, he's gonna be special.
I can't wait. I see that smile.
Yeah.
I think Javante's always talking about how he has poise. Was there?
All right, there you go. So obviously, Josh Jacobs very, very impressed with Jordan Love. What's your all's take on that? And we got Jordan Love, some comments from him earlier today as well. We're going to get to here in a second.
I mean, it's encouraging for sure. It's I don't think it's quote unquote, coach speak or player speak. I think that just Josh Jacobs, I didn't know Josh Jacobs, the type of personality he had, because I wasn't an Alabama fan. Obviously, I'm not a Raiders fan. The guy just seems like he's no nonsense and that he is just a football player first and foremost. And a lot of guys say that, but he just seems like he's all business and that he has one goal, and that's to win a Super Bowl. And you can look at that through all the different avenues. Like Tim said, when they were clearing out lockers, he made it real clear. I expect this team to get better and to take steps, and I'm going to be a leader. And I think that the addition of him and X has shown what it can do for this team. And he's, calling out that if we bring that other piece, and it's nice to know that he thinks that we don't need a quarterback. He's not saying that anywhere. And that's, I think, should be most reassuring to everybody, is he's calling out the quote unquote pieces that we have to put this puzzle piece completely together. I think it's a great thing. I think that obviously having him have Jordan's back is going to give Jordan more confidence to be a more vocal leader, which I think we've all wanted from him.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for sure. Josh Martin with the super chat. How much pressure does Jacobs' comment put on Goot to get a proven one? Would the best option be in free agency or moving up in the draft to get one? I think if it was that easy in the draft, we would have already done it, I don't think it's just a slam dunk. Okay, we move up in the first round, you're guaranteed a number one. Now, obviously, you miss every shot that you don't take, so you're going to have to swing a couple times up there if you truly want to hit on one of those top guys before they're gone. I mean, you look in the past, Justin Jefferson's one that went in the first round, right? Barely got away from us. Brandon Ayuk was another one. I want to say the 49ers took him right before we were going to take him, according to Goody at the time, that they had that high grade on him. But, Emilio, what do you think? Anything you want to hit here on this super chat here from Josh or Josh Jacobs' comments?
Yeah, to Josh Martin's point there, I mean, I think it does put a little bit of pressure, but Goot's not looking at it just for what Josh said. I mean, I'm sure he's talking to Matt, talking to Jordan, see what we need. What does the entire team need, not just one person? Obviously, everyone's got their thoughts. Same with the Browns. Myles Garrett said he wants to be traded. We'll see what happens, right? So people can just talk and get their frustrations out there. That's cool. But I do love how he stepped up and taken that on the shoulder. Like, you're in high school, you get a new kid transferred in and he's starting, he moves into starting running back. Like, all right, dude, if you're new here, you're going to have to, your feet are going to get burnt quick. Like, you gotta step up, make a name for yourself, put it out there. And now you're carrying the G. So I wouldn't want anything less than Josh Jacobs doing that. We would be supporting Aaron Jones if he was saying that, just 3-4 years ago. So I'm totally for it. Maybe some people don't like the way it came out, but I think we need it.
I got you.
Agree. No, I agree. And I think what Emilio's saying is spot on. I don't think it might put a little pressure on Goody in the sense of like public image wise, now that the guys are talking openly about it. But I think this is not coming as a shock to Goody in the front office at all. I think they know what the vibe is with that team and in that locker room. They know what they need to do going forward. And I don't think, players talking about bringing in a number one type receiver is gonna alter Goody's plans. For all we know, he's probably already on the phone working something out. So just keep your fingers crossed and see how it plays out. Stop trying to read things that haven't been written yet all the time, Sometimes there's nothing there. Sometimes you got to just take things at face value. And it does. It truly seems like Jacob was saying, we're one or two guys away from really putting together that Super Bowl run type of team. So I'm waiting with bated breath, man. It's going to be an exciting offseason.
Yeah. Carla?
I really like what Greg Rice said. Goody doesn't draft based off of player sound bites, which he wouldn't be our GM if he did that. But I also think if we're going to get a proven wide receiver one, the draft isn't the place to do it because the key word in there is proven, right? I don't think Josh Jacobs would expect us to get it in the draft because that's just, you're kind of rolling the dice.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good point. I do. And again, everybody, it's like we get sold on, well, if you just take one in the first round, you're going to get a number one. That's definitely not how it works, right?
No, we're going to get Tay, and then we're going to draft Jaden Higgins in the second round.
I knew he was going to say that. I knew it.
Josh, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. We appreciate you. All right, next comment here. If you'll give me another screen grab, Tim, when you get a chance there. This was Jordan Love on NFL on ESPN. So I'm trying to think of the show NFL Live earlier today. And Jordan Love was kind of asked about the offense and whatnot. And Josh Jacobs saying the Packers needed a wide receiver one. So let's see how QB1 responded to this.
How do you see this young group, and are there advantages in not having a number one?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think we have different guys that can play and do different things better than other guys. And I think we have a wide or a deep receiver room. Obviously, like you mentioned, Tucker Kraft. But I think we got a lot of guys that can grow into that role. And I think we're still young. We're still building this thing. And guys are still proving themselves. So, Josh, he made those comments. And, I'm always right for my guys. I love the guys we have. I always say, if you add good players to an already good offense, I think, you can make it a better team.
So a potential number one wide receiver that could be available in free agency, T. Higgins, what would your thoughts be on adding him to your already talented roster?
Yes.
Like I said, T is a phenomenal player. Yeah. I know T pretty well. And, like I said, if you add a really good player to a really good offense, I think the sky's the limit. You could take it in pretty cool places.
All right, so there you go. There was QB1 addressing the situation there with Josh Jacobs. I think he handled it absolutely perfect. We'll go around the horn with it, though. Rusty Hurts, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, to me right now, I saw a comment earlier where it basically said the media must be bored right now. I think I think it is. We're in the off season right now. The news isn't very flash. I mean, there's a lot of news going around, but I feel like Packers Twitter specifically is going to make more of this than they rightfully should. I mean, shocker, right? The Packers Twitter is a little bit dramatic at times, but I think that as far as I think the players are handling it well. I think Love's handling it well. Jacobs is handling it well. I think what Deadfish said too, real quick about Jacobs. He says Jacobs likes Green Bay because there's no distractions other than football. He can focus on football. I feel like Jordan's that same type of player where they understand what they're there for. They understand what they're getting paid for, and they don't screw around. To censor myself a little bit there. I like it. I like it a lot.
Emilio?
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth that we got a lot of talent. They just, at some point, someone needs to step up. I mean, he's going to be a Packers quarterback for a long time. I think we're going to keep hearing this stuff. He's going to always support his team, always keep getting better. Just do it behind the scenes, right? You don't need to post every 5 seconds of what you're doing to get better. You just got to keep grinding.
Yeah.
Don't do it, Tim. Don't do it.
Daryl in the chat, of course, said,
"Please don't."
I'm not touching.
Hey, all right. No, Carly.
I
vetoed it.
Duval.
My man. All right. You got it, Daryl. Special requests. This is the total request line here. Y'all remember that show back in the day? TRL.
Get ready to go.
Oh my God. Jacob used to get ready. Used to get ready with TRL in the background, didn't he?
Hey, this is not a joke. When I came home, I taught myself the NSYNC Bye 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 dance, and I was in 5th grade, thanks to Carson Daly and TRL. I got all the ladies. Dude, I had a puka shell necklace. I had a sweet bowl cut. I had some Jinko jeans. Don't mess with me. Hide your girl. Hide your wife.
You don't act like the ladies you were chasing were young enough to know what that song was, Jacob. Come on. Come on. All right. Anyway, so I put Lions season are legit. NFL rumors tweeted out the Packers are expected to pursue Bengals T. Higgins in free agency. Go Pack Go. Now, obviously, this account here, some people like it, some people don't. I do know this. When you hear the Packers are always in the conversation for these type of signings, I think there's truth to it in the sense that, like Andrew Brandt said when he worked for the Packers, agents would call the Packers, go, hey, do you mind if we mention that you're interested in our guy? No, go ahead. And as Andrew Brandt said, from the Packers' perspective, it's always, would we mind if you mentioned us being interested to drive up the cost for someone else? No, go right ahead, right? It's Lions season. That's the point of the whole topic here, right, Tim? We talk about it all the time.
Yep.
There's going to be rumors kick up this time of year. And everybody's jockeying for position, obviously, to get leverage and drive up the price, even if they're not interested in the player. Right?
As if the price on T. Higgins needs to go any higher than it already is.
Already
but
overpriced.
Yeah. But you know what, though? It's so true what you're saying. It's that time of year. Like Jacob was saying, it's kind of, you're digging through the weeds here. Super Bowl week, you're trying to, talk to the league and drum up stories where you can. I don't know. I'm 50-50. I'd be lying if I didn't think that T. Higgins was on the radar for Goody. I mean, he has to be. He's probably one of the top free agents, if not the top free agent target, especially when it comes to receivers. So naturally, you're going to be caught up in the rumor mill, but I'm just hoping we go another route. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, and like who was it just said it? Christian? No, not Christian. 2-0 for this said T. Higgins isn't even a wide receiver one. People need to chill. I can understand that argument, man. I really can, because if he was a true number one wide receiver, they wouldn't have been able to roll the coverage the way they did on Jamar Chase. He should have absolutely blew up. Had a great PFF grade. Don't get me wrong, but all the attention that Jamar Chase was drawing away from T. Higgins, I'm just not sold on him that much. Again, is he a great player? I think he's borderline very good to great for me. You're willing to overpay for great. You're not willing to overpay for good. So that's why I get a little bit nervous of that. And of course, the holdout, conversation there for 2 years in a row, all that stuff makes me real nervous. So again, there's your T. Higgins news of the day. There was one other thing I wanted to hit. Go ahead. Somebody had something? No. Okay. I thought I heard something. I'm over here hearing things. My bad. Okay, so
that was Goody calling Devontae Adams' agent and the Jets general management trying to figure something out.
Definitely. All right, so another tweet I put up, I did a poll question. We've got over 600 votes in there now. If you had to pick one of these players to be acquired by the Green Bay Packers, who would it be? The choices are Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, T. Higgins, or Devontae Adams. Here's the percentage in order of who was voted on the most here. 46% of the vote, Myles Garrett. 26.7% Max Crosby. 15.8% Devontae Adams. And 11.4% T. Higgins. It kind of surprised me that T. Higgins was so low, that he was the lowest of these four. It made me proud of the Packer fandom, though. I know that. So, obviously, Myles Garrett leads the way. Max Crosby coming in second. I want to know, what would you guys vote? I'll start with Emilio this time. Emilio, who would your vote be? And again, we're not talking specific compensation. It's just simply you can choose from one of these four players to add them to the roster. Who would it be?
Realistically, I think it has to be Tay. I mean, Myles Garrett is expensive, getting up there. Max is going to be another price. Like, we already have so many guys on the roster ready to get paid coming up that I wouldn't want to see picking up anybody that's going to be a 5-year deal for 30-40 million. So I'm thinking pull the trigger on Tay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Randy Cleaver says Mac is not on the list. He was not on the list intentionally, Randy, for sure. You guys know that's my choice.
He would have got the love. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. We kind of already talked about that in the past, and man, I think the majority of fans are on board with that, especially it being a free agent signing as opposed to having to trade for a Myles Garrett, having to trade for a Max Crosby, that type of thing. But Tim, what do you think here, man?
Yeah, I'm going with Emilio's pick here. I say Tay. Even though T. Higgins is the only free agent on the list, technically speaking, but I think Tay would be the best move. It's funny though, when you look at these names, it's like if we went back a week or two, everyone would have been saying Max Crosby. That was the big name. Now of course Myles Garrett is the hot name on the list. Devontae is always going to be a hot name, and T. Higgins at the bottom of the list, rightfully so, where he belongs. So I think we'll see. We should run the same poll like a week or two from now and see what fans think. But my vote is definitely with Devontae for sure.
Yeah, Jake Shavink here in the chat says, when you go around the league and play the T. Higgins versus wide receiver X conversation, he isn't very high on the list, in my opinion, to be paying him $28 million. I completely agree, Jake. Completely agree. What's your take on this, Carly? Which player would you choose here?
I would choose Myles Garrett. I know he's like all the rage, people talking about him now, but when I'm not that great at evaluating how good players are, right? But when I watch the games and I've gone back, I can see the difference that he makes, and he's just incredible at football. I don't care that he's expensive. We've seen what having Xavier McKinney really did for the the safety room back there and how much of a difference that it makes. I think if we had someone just with his caliber of play on the defensive line, edge rusher, like it could just turn everything around. It might be what we need to get us over the edge, and that's why I want him.
Got it. Jacob, sir. Don't you dare mention Brenton Cox Jr. either.
Well, all right, I'll leave Cox out of this one. But, there's a lot of people in the chat that are bringing up Hendrickson. I don't know if that's an actual guy that's in the mix, if he's a free agent, whatever. But if I had to decide what's more realistic in this list, I'd probably go like with Emilio and Tim and say Devontae. If I had to just close my eyes, click my heels 3 times, and I get my wish, I would honestly – I'd love Max Crosby, and I know people want Garrett over Max. I just don't know why I love Max Crosby. I think the camaraderie with him and Jacobs and just all that kind of stuff would be great. But I don't realistically see a lot of this happening. To side with Randy real quick, we could get Mac and Adams for the price of Garrett. So me being the cheap skate, you know that I am, I want that discount deal. Sign me up every day of the week.
Get ready to go.
All right, there you go. Yeah, for me, if I had to choose between these 4 and I couldn't have a combination of anything in between, I would want Myles Garrett, me personally. I think that would make a much, much larger impact than Devontae Adams. But if you're saying, okay, choose one of these and you can do whatever else you want, for me, the perfect combination will be kind of in the middle and go Khalil Mack in free agency and land Devontae Adams. If you get Khalil Mack, I think you're getting just about as equal a player right now as Myles Garrett. That's my personal opinion, just based off the tape from the last 2 years. If you could get him and Tay Adams as opposed to just Myles Garrett, I think you're in a lot better situation there. Max Crosby, you guys know how I feel about that. I think he's a freak player. I think he's a great athlete, but I don't think he's nowhere near Myles Garrett. I really don't. And honestly, the impact that Khalil Mack has had here lately, I think Max Crosby's going to probably want a little bit extra money, a little bit more money moving forward, seeing how much younger he is than Khalil Mack. And I think it was the 33rd team we'll get to here in a minute. Matter of fact, I'll just mention it right now. The 33rd team actually put an article out saying one free agent that makes sense for every team, all 32 teams. This is who they picked for Green Bay Packers. Khalil Mack, edge defender, 2 years, $40 million. The Green Bay Packers desperately need to find a pass rusher opposite Rashawn Gary. Well, I thought we need to get rid of Rashawn Gary. And it's possible they'll wait until after the draft to fill that need, or until the draft to fill that need. But Green Bay is ready to win now. Their best option might be to pay big money for a 1 or 2 year rental. Khalil Mack missed some time in 2024 with injuries, but he is still highly productive whenever he is on the field. He'll be 34 during the 2025 season, but he can still produce elite numbers as a number 2 pass rusher. The fact that they can't double team both those guys, and you go in the draft and draft a 3-tech, whether it's a Walter Nolan or whoever falls in your lap there at 23, you couple him with Devontae Wyatt, who is definitely our most effective interior pass rusher, I think you can really wreak havoc on other offenses. I really do. So, again, I thought that was a pretty cool little exercise there. Now, we do have someone was asking about Trey Hendrickson. Is that right, Jacob?
Yes.
Cool. I've got an audio here from earlier today, I think it was, at Super Bowl Row. And this is –
my knee.
This is on Random. This is on First Take, and this is Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp talking to Joe Burrow about Trey Hendrickson, because Trey Hendrickson,
that ain't no problem.
Well, perfect. Trey Hendrickson is still under contract, but I think the Bengals are trying to hold out on paying him. Here's what Joe Burrow had to say about that, Tim, if you'll give me a screen grab, maybe 10
What was that drop, by the way? Have I missed this one? What did I just hear?
Talking about the Shannon Sharp one, bro?
That's Shannon Sharp?
Old school.
Huh? That ain't no problem.
Well,
He
was the best guy around.
Here was Shannon Sharp talking to Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow speaking specifically on the Trey Hendrickson situation.
Like you said, we need Trey back. We need to give him what he's worth and what he deserves. He's earned that. And we need our young guys to come on. We need to draft well. We need guys to come in and produce immediately.
Yes.
We don't have time to wait around. Right. And I think we have the young guys that are capable of going into an off season, training the way that they need to, taking advantage of all the opportunities that they can, and come out and play well early.
I have to confess, I'm very worried about you with what you're saying. We got to keep Jamar Chase. We got to keep T. Higgins. We got to keep
Trey Hendrickson.
You got to keep a whole bunch. This is Cincinnati now. I mean, this is that ownership. You confident that they're going to be willing to keep all of those guys?
The cap is going up each year. We just got new TV deals, so the cap's going to continue to go up.
TV money. Yep.
And we all want to stay together, so we're all going to do what it takes to do that. And we have great players that have done great things and deserve to be paid. They're going to be paid what they're worth, whether we do it or somebody else. I hope we do it. I think we've had the discussions that the guys are going to get paid that need to get paid, and so it's a big offseason for the Bengals.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to let you.
All right, there you go. So again, that was the Trey Hendrickson take there from our boy Joe Burrow.
Keep T. Higgins. Keep him. Pay that man. Re-sign him. Keep him home.
Please.
I love Stephen A. Smith too. Like he's trying to bait Burrow into talking crap about the ownership of the team that he plays for, and he wasn't having it. Yeah. I love it.
Trying to see what Trey Hendrickson's PFF grade was. Here you go, boys. 88.1. Wow, have mercy. Hey-o. So stud. Actually, the last 3 years. 88.1 this year, 82.3, 85, 72, 72, 63, 70, and 61. So, yeah, he literally he's done nothing but go up other than 2019 where he took a slight step back. He's improved every year. He's a solid player. But, again, man, you got to be willing to give up draft compensation if you're going to go get a player like that, right? There's no doubt. Josh Martin with the Super Chat. Do you think Sterling gets into the Hall of Fame tonight? What time is that happening, guys? When will we know that? Does anybody have that answer for me in the chat? Because
doesn't it start at 9?
I saw somebody say that they thought it was on, but they didn't have it on their TV. But I think it might be. I thought it was 8 Central, aka God's time.
Gotcha.
Right after our show, we should know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully he gets
I'll tell you one thing about Sterling Sharp.
He was the best guy around.
You got that right, sir. You got that right. Actually, he wasn't the best guy around for a little bit, right? He was holding out and playing hard to get there for the Packers, right? Yeah, Google says 8 p.m. Central Time, according to Drew. And again, Josh Martin, thank you for the Super Chat. I don't think anybody here disagrees that Sterling Sharp needs to be in the Hall of Fame, right? We're all on the same page there. So, all right, good deal. Because you would not be allowed back on this show if you said that. Let's see what else we got on Twitter. Do we have anything else? I think we're caught up there. So we actually had another comment. Want to give a shout out to who sent me a message here in our little Twitter group. Said, "Hey man, so I'm trying to think of an alternative to Myles Garrett because that's just not going to happen. I was watching Andy Herman break down Josh Sweat and Milton Williams and haven't heard of Williams until now, but he's the second-rated interior pass rusher and pressure behind just Chris Jones. He had 6 sacks. He's only 26 years old. I'm thinking he isn't talked about because of all the other names on the Eagles defense. Josh Sweat too, but Milton Williams sounds like a damn home run. He'd be a good name to bring up when people pester you about Myles Garrett." Thanks, bud. That's Crossfire there that sent the message over. He also says Williams' issue is run defense, but his high RAS is elite also. Josh Sweat also has a top RAS, averages 10 sacks a year, and is also good with run defense, turning 27 in March. Josh Sweat sounds like a more consistent player, someone that plays until the whistle. That sounds like more of a Packer guy to me. I could go on and on, but I don't want to annoy you. Have a good one. I appreciate you there, Crossfire. What's your all's take on that? Milton Williams, as Jake Shavink. You go ahead and read that, Jacob, and I'll get Milton Williams and stuff.
Yeah, Shavink is saying that Milton Williams might be the under-the-radar impact guy this week against Caliendo at left guard. So I'm not going to put words in Shavink's mouth, but it sounds like he's saying that he's a pretty solid player. And, that age, 26, I that's a great, undercover find. I think that's awesome. And we can dive into the numbers as Clayton pulls those up. But, younger guys still possibly has some tread left on the tires. And this is Frank Caliendo's at left guard. He is a good impressionist. I don't know if he's that good to be in the Super Bowl.
First thing I thought of, too, when you say Caliendo, I was like,
that's all I thought of. But, I would be personally quite open for that. It sounds like he's probably underrated, which means he's cheaper, if I'm not mistaken. So you guys know, again, I'm cheap. Bring it in.
Yeah, that's the thing. His PFF grade starting in 21. He's only been in the league 4 years. 49, 72.6, 69.7, 70.1. Again, Devontae Wyatt, I think he graded out like a 67, something like that. His tackle grade, I mean, his pass rush grade this year was great, right? But it's the first year that his pass rush grade was good, to be honest with you. His run defense had been good. Now his pass rush jumps up. His run defense takes a seat back. I'm okay with any of these guys for the right price. My question is, if he hits the open market, and I'm assuming he is going to be a free agent, if you hit the open market, are you willing to overpay for him? Because typically when people hit the market, that's what it comes down to, right? So it is a fun prospect to think about. Emilio, you got anything to add to Milton Williams here, man?
6'3", 290, 25 years old. I mean, just the run defense struggles. I feel like we have a pass rusher in Wyatt, right? I feel like that could be our guy in that. I mean, if he's a free agent and the price is right, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But, you know, I still feel like you just keep drafting and pulling triggers inside there and just see what's going to happen, because I don't want to chase mid round. Like if I'm going into the free agency, I want to know like a kind of a known talent or somebody that's going to, you know, show up for the team. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Tim, this right here, man, like Jake Shavink says, 14 to 17 million per at least. To me, this guy looks like Devontae Wyatt.
Yeah.
All right. And we're getting Devontae Wyatt for pennies on the dollar with that rookie contract right now. I know he's a first round pick, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but to me, you got to swing bigger than this if you're gonna pay 14 to 17 million. You know what I mean?
I would agree, especially for someone who's going to grade out in the, you know, low to mid 70s and be nearly a liability when it comes to the run game. You know, it's a lot of money. I think I'm with Emilio. I'd rather just go to the draft, roll the dice again.
Definitely. Carly, you got a take on this?
I have more of a question. I'm wondering, with this talk about RAS scores, like after they've been drafted, does the RAS score really even matter? Because do they ever recalculate it during the years that they play? Because you're talking about what they were measured at some point, 4 or 5 years ago.
Right. Now, the RAS score is just relative athletic score coming into the draft. That's it. That, to the best of my knowledge, it's not remeasured later. That's just going off of your measurables, your combine numbers, your pro day numbers, all that stuff, right? So, that's again, people like to go back and talk about the RAS because it's like, hey, here was his athletic score, right? He's an extremely elite dude, and we know Goody loves those guys that are extra athletic, right? So I think that's why he brought that up in the comment there. So, but to answer your question, it's just that's the RAS is tagged on a player when they come in the league.
So if you think of it as like a really high quality cheese or some, really, really great quality thing, you put it in a mac and cheese, it's still just mac and cheese, no matter how good it is. So exactly right. If that's where they are, I don't see it becoming elite.
I'm a big mac and cheese fan too, which by the way, the beer cheese mac and cheese at 1919 Kitchen and Tap with the elk stroganoff.
Dude.
But is it worth paying $50 a plate for? Would you pay $50 a plate for it?
The elk stroganoff?
The mac and cheese.
I would remortgage the house for elk stroganoff. Let me tell you, it's unbelievable. Cold beer.
I'd pay $50 if Tucker Kraft made it for me. I'd pay whatever he asked, and then I'd light his Marlboro for him, and I'd say, "Come on, man, let's go to the club." You know?
The club.
The
most Caucasian way to say that. All right, so we got our Milton Williams talking. We didn't have that on the bingo card, right? I'm glad we hit on it though. Let's see here. This next one was questions for the show. Go ahead, Jacob. What do you got? What you getting?
Nothing. I can't. It's Emilio in the private chat.
Yeah,
we just blocked Emilio in the private chat.
Thank you. God.
I'm gonna come in with my screen name Tom Holman tomorrow.
Emilio's like that kid in school that you couldn't sit next to because the teacher would be like, "Y'all got to separate. I'm putting one of you in the other room." That's me and Emilio. We are not allowed in the same class.
For sure.
Oh man, there's been a couple of comments in here just mentioning specific prospects. Obviously, Kenneth Grant got mentioned. I thought this was interesting. It came from Todd Larson in our questions for the show. On our Patreon group. If you guys aren't in our Patreon group, you would like to join, just go to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. We got a multitude of chats in there. You can get your questions read on the show, that type of thing. It's just a way for you to support the show and us to include you in the show in that regard. Jake Shavink says Darius Alexander season, which, man, did that dude improve his stock. during the All-Star week, right? He absolutely lit it up. So, yeah, that's a name that's definitely heating up as well. But Todd Larson said, what do you think of this mock? I tried to stay true to the big board you shared while meeting the needs I perceived that the Packers need to address. So here is his mock draft. We'll read it off, and I want to get your all's take on it. With the 31st pick, he took Kenneth Grant, all right? With the 54th pick, he took Jack Sawyer, edge defender out of Ohio State. With the 63rd pick, he went Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota, offensive tackle. With the 87th pick, he went Azare Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State. 123, he went Kobe Bryant, cornerback out of Kansas. 160, Jalen Noel, wide receiver out of Iowa State. 200, Seth McLaughlin, offensive. It says center here from Ohio State. I don't know much about him. We need to look him up. 239.
158 on the board. Interior alignment is what we have him as.
You said 158?
Yeah.
Wow, that's good value then, right? At 200, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Zachary Franklin, wide receiver out of Illinois, so he double dipped in wide receiver. I like it. Maybe a little aggressive. And you know I love this 251st pick, boys. Riley Leonard, quarterback out of Notre Dame. And just go ahead and plan on him being on the practice squad. It'll be totally fine. We'll pay the guy. He'll just hang out over there and keep So.
Can I comment on this real quick? I think that
No,
this is
absolutely not.
Sorry, I'll
No,
go
ahead, Jay.
I think that this is honestly an awesome draft. I would
Solid.
be over the moon. The only thing that I would honestly replace is I would replace what Clayton just highlighted. I would replace Riley Leonard and I'd go Mark Weir. Lock in, get those trenches locked in, baby. Or but Zachary Franklin is an interesting prospect. I've been falling more and more in love with Pat Bryant the more I've looked at his measurables and where he's at in almost every statistical category that we care about: the drops, the yak, the yards per catch, all that kind of stuff, his size. But Zachary Franklin was quietly a really great number 2. And I feel the same way about Jalen Noel. We're all talking about Jaden Higgins, which obviously Tim's in love with. But I think that that's a great, sneaky late round pick for wide receiver in the later rounds there. I think it's awesome. I love going the back-to-back corners that he did. I love Irsay. We talked about him. And you guys know I'm a Jack Sawyer fanboy. So let's go.
I like Jack Sawyer too, man. I think somebody's going to get a hell of a football player there for sure. Amelia, what do you think about this draft right here, man? I know you're on board with the McLaughlin pick there at Ohio State.
Yeah, I do like the draft. Seriously, I'd like to know what he gave up for the trade back to pick up the extra 2 picks. But I do really like it. I like that he was able to, if the board still looked right, trade back to get to 31. And maybe that was it. Maybe he just gave that up and go. But I do like it. You covering kind of all your bases there. Double dip at corner, double dip at wide receiver, bring in some competition. Maybe just, I really don't know. Maybe just one more D lineman or an edge or something, but it's about it.
Yeah, the only thing I really notice here, Tim, is linebacker. That's what sticks out to me. But other than that, Kenneth Grant's our 10th best prospect. You got him at 31. Jack Sawyer fairly high on the board as well. I know Ursary was one that was toward the top for us for a while. I think he had recently dropped. Jack Sawyer is in the 46th spot. Ursary is at 49. Our boy got who is this again? Todd Larson got great value in this draft. But Tim, other than linebacker, what do you think about this, man?
Yeah, A-, B+ type of grade on this one from me. I think Kenneth Grant that's an awesome pick. So is Sawyer. And then, like Emilio said, double dipping at DB and wide receiver. Jalen Noel is probably, one of a handful of, the smaller build receivers, slot kind of guys that I really liked in this draft class. So I really like the Jalen Noel pick at 160 there. And I do think, it's pretty realistic to think that if Riley Leonard's on the board late in the draft, I wouldn't put it past the Packers to draft him or any quarterback that they have on their radar for that matter. So I think it's a really good draft.
Nice. Carly, anything to add here?
Well, I have a caveat that Jack Sawyer is really the only one of the players that I know anything about. But given Goody's tendency just to get really good value with undrafted free agents, even like with wide receiver and stuff, I would like it if they really focused on the trenches, good O-line, D-line, and some linebacker. But this is cool. I just don't want him to get any wide receivers because I really want us to have a better O-line.
I understand that completely. I get it. And again, he went pretty heavy trenches here, right? Got 4 trench players, 2 on offense, 2 on defense.
Mhm.
But I could see where we could maybe add another offensive lineman in there as well. But again, linebacker is the big thing for me because we're going to have to have contribution on special teams. And if Eric Wilson and McDuffie are not here next year, that makes me a little more, along with Zane Anderson possibly not being here, that makes me a little more concerned about special teams. You know, Jake?
You know what? I was going to actually, it's funny you brought up linebacker because I've been trying to create a list of kind of like my guys that are in the later rounds. Jay Higgins the linebacker out of Iowa is my favorite. We've talked about Jalen Walker, but have you looked at Teddy Buchanan? Seemingly he's falling, the guy from Cal. He just seems like a really well-rounded linebacker as well. I agree. If we could pepper in one of those guys, any of those guys into that lineup, man, I tell you, we could have something special.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Emilio, where's Teddy Buchanan at on our board?
200.
200? Because I know on the with PFF grades, he was pretty high up, right? Looked good.
Yeah, he was pretty consistent, 22, 23, 24. He dropped to 120, but it was just his big board grades that brought him down.
PFF big board is at 260 right now.
Yeah, there you go. If we were to sort by position here real quick and look at our linebackers in order, our top linebacker is Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama, then Carson Swisinger, linebacker out of UCLA, Demetrius Knight Jr. out of South Carolina, Chris Paul Jr. out of Ole Miss, then Jay Higgins. So, yeah, Jacob, we're on board with you there, man. He's our, fifth best linebacker in the draft. Jack Kaiser a couple spots behind him. Obviously, Stutzman ahead of Jack Kaiser, right behind Jay Higgins. Any of these guys, I found myself getting pretty excited about, man.
Cody Simon too, underrated, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. From Ohio State, obviously 100th graded linebacker in 23, jumped all the way to 13 this year. The thing that's bringing him down is that consensus big board having him at 212 and the PFF big board having him at 132, which is still wild to me. 13th highest graded linebacker in all of college football, and he's 132 on their big board, So very interesting. Tim, anything else you want to add to this conversation? We talking linebacker here, Bob.
No, not really. I think, Emilio really nailed this board this year, and we've got a lot of info here in this crop that we've put together, man. I think, spot on with the input, and not just Emilio, really everybody, you too, Clayton, Jacob, we're all kind of giving our 2 cents in building this board and then kind of comparing things across, other analysts and stuff. But, I think I'm a little higher on Jack Kaiser out of Notre Dame than most. He's a guy that I could see the Packers possibly going after, although he doesn't have the Emilio trademark cheese emoji. So I don't know if we've actually talked about it or not. But of the guys that we've met with, I'm in the process of kind of doing a film study on Carson there and Cody. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to linebacker, I think again we got to land 2 of these guys. We got to, and hopefully we're able to get them a little later in the draft. I think that would be ideal for us for sure. What do you guys think?
Jack Kaiser, DJ was talking about how he was playing safety at the end of the Senior Bowl game.
So interesting. Yeah, because we talked about that's his knock, right? Was he's a little undersized as a backer, but boy, this is what's crazy about the RAS. If you put him in at linebacker RAS, it might not be through the roof because of his weight, right?
Yep.
But if you put him at safety, it's going to skyrocket him up the RAS.
I don't know. Now I'm back down on Jack Kaiser now. I
don't like him.
This is Tariq Carpenter all over again.
That's true.
Hey.
That's a great point, Tim. It's a great point.
I don't think Tyreek graded anywhere near how well Jalen did, though, right?
That's true. That's true.
What do you guys think about this?
We're talking about Kaiser, though, right? Not Jalen Walker.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah. Same difference, though, right? Like he didn't grade that well, did he? I mean, Kaiser was look at 23. I mean,
it's kind of inverse, right? Because wasn't Tariq a safety that they dropped down into linebacker, or was it the other way around?
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think so.
So Kaiser would be the opposite way. He'd be a linebacker going to safety. So who knows?
What do you guys think about this? The other night, and you know what? For hour 1, that's going to do it, guys. We'll see you on the other side for hour 2 over on the pod. We appreciate y'all.